Nice. Okay.
Nice. There you go.
Recording. Yes, I am. All right. Here we go. Podcast.
Nice. Podcasting.
You're listening to the 220 podcast. 2 topics, 20 minutes. My name is Ezequiel Gutierrez. Thank you so much for listening. Joining me in conversation today is this show's own, like, Dan Patrick, the sports guy.
The sports.
Mr. Andrew Koomen, welcome back to the program, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we did, like, you've done this now a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we talked sports the very first time, and then ever since, I think the last 2 episodes have been mostly sports driven. So that's what.
Yeah,
no different.
Yeah, which is fitting because that's pretty much. Yeah. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. So let's talk sports. So
yes.
First of all, there are few things in this life that give me more joy than baseball, and baseball is back.
Yes.
It's weird, but it's back, and I'm here for it.
Yes.
The cardboard cutouts in the stands, I would be lying to you if I told you that I didn't try to convince myself and my wife to spend the money to get myself to every Dodger.
No, you didn't.
Of course I did.
No, you didn't.
To be able to say, this was my reasoning. I could go to every single home game. I'll be at every single home game this year.
But it's not you.
I know it's not. It's
Come
so
on.
weird. But as unique as the situation is, I am, as much as I want everyone to be safe, I am super grateful that especially baseball is back. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'd be happier if the Angels didn't, disappoint again already this early in the season, where I'm now looking forward to football already. But it's a short season, so you go through the processes of your team sucking quickly.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited it's back. And as far as the cutouts, I was talking with my parents who are Angels super fans as well, and they were talking about it, and I think it's goofy, but what I like is that sports in general, even basketball doing it with, I don't know if you've seen their games in the bubble with the digital. Yeah. They're like digital fans.
Yeah, that's weird.
What I like is that there's a fan experience, and they're trying to create some sort of fan experience. And I'd like to think of it that way and romanticize it rather than them just looking and going, hey, I can get $150 out of some people.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way at all. Like, maybe that's just my viewpoint too. I never thought that the Dodgers were just trying to make a buck off of me. I honestly thought that they were, hey, let's get them involved somehow. Obviously,
and I think they get to do a little bit of both. Yeah. They get to have you involved, and fans are like, hey, this is cool. But in the same sense, it's like, dude, they're losing money hand over fist on you not going to a game, spending at least $30 on a ticket, at least $30 on a hot dog. And all of that, parking, the whole nine. I mean, it's a lose.
Huge.
It's a loss for them across the board. And football's going to lose money. Basketball's got to be losing money. And so creating a fan experience is nice. And then they get a little cash.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do appreciate that. And I am enjoying the changes this year. Oh, that's been kind of cool.
Okay. The extra innings thing. So when they go to extra innings, I love the runner at second to start.
It's amazing.
I think it's like, can we do that forever?
I want to keep it forever.
Yeah. So, okay, we're on the same page. I hope that is a rule that gets established going forward.
Yes, because it adds instantly. It adds drama and excitement because you go to extra innings, like, oh crap, there's a guy on second base.
Yeah.
And you have something amazing happen where Max Muncy can hit a walk off or a go ahead sac fly with no outs in an inning. Yes. Like, leading off an inning, he can hit a sac fly.
So good.
That's kind of cool. And the Angels pitcher records 3 straight outs, gives up the run, and then gets the loss. I mean, it hurts because my team lost.
Yeah.
I love baseball minutia like that. Little things where you're just like, well, that's just stupid. And you go, that's baseball.
It's going to be this new statistician. It's going to be a new stat. Like, somebody's going to design this new stat around the extra innings runner on second.
It's so good. Yeah. But I love it because, again, it's innovative. It changes things, and baseball's a game that I feel like needs to adopt some change to keep fans interested.
Yeah.
Because as much as I consider myself a baseball purist, a boring game is boring whether you're a purist or not.
For sure.
And you'll find yourself on your phone or doing other things, and anything to keep fans interested is what you got to do. You know, every other sport's made those changes, and so I'm glad to see baseball make some.
So let's talk about being a baseball purist. Let's talk about the minutia. Let's talk about the unwritten rules. Okay, so yeah, 2 days ago at this point? So we're recording.
I think it was
August 19th on Monday the 17th. One of baseball's new, like, exciting players to watch.
Yeah, young guy with some flair,
and he's doing so well. Apparently broke one of baseball's unwritten rules. So set the stage for me. Set the stage for the listeners real quick.
Okay, so Fernando Tatis, in what I believe, and bear with me, I didn't pull the stats up.
Yeah,
I believe it was in the 8th or 9th inning, 7-run lead. Bases are now loaded. The count's 3 balls, no strikes. Now, I don't know if this is a baseball unwritten rule because I actually own the book, Baseball's Unwritten Rules.
Yes.
And I need to find it. I moved a couple of months ago and I haven't found everything that I own. You know how this goes.
Yeah.
And I need to find it and see if that one's in there because I didn't know that was a rule as much as it was more for the batter. Don't swing 3-0 unless it's a cookie.
Right.
Because if the bases, especially if the bases are loaded and it's 3-0 and you swing and pop up or ground into a double play, you're benched the next day.
So,
like that guy doesn't.
You're taking the pitch because one ball could mean one run. With the bases loaded, if I take this pitch, we just got another run.
But as a pitcher, I know different hitters are going to react to that differently. Now, yes, I was not a player. I played in high school and I was god awful. Awful.
Yeah.
I was terrible.
Yeah.
I know Mike Trout probably has the green light on 3-0. I better not throw him a cookie because he'll hit it a million feet. Mm-hmm. I know Mookie Betts, a Joey Gallo, like power hitters. Francisco Lindor and Fernando Tatis, I think right now the way he's playing fits into that category.
He leads the league in home runs right now.
You're not throwing Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton a meat fastball 3-0 going, they're going to take it. Dude, you can't do that.
Yeah.
They used to say that about Albert Pujols. Now you can throw him just about anything.
Oh, come on. Don't do that to the guy.
Just about anything. And it's fine. But so I always thought of it more as you shouldn't as a hitter because you could screw up.
Right.
And if you do it, you'd better kill it.
Yeah.
That's the way, that was my thinking going into this. Yeah. And so I am 1000% confused as to what in the world not only Chris Woodward is thinking, but the Padres manager is thinking.
So Tatis, instead of taking it, like most people and the entire Rangers organization at this point assumed he was going to do, is take this pitch, and if it's a ball, he takes his base. If it's a strike, he's 3-1. Instead, he swings and hits a grand slam home run to go up 14 to...
It was 7, so now it's 11.
Oh, yeah. 11. They got a huge lead. He did,
right.
You know, people are going to say, dude, you're running up the score on us. And I say, this is the most ridiculous argument in the history of this season. Why are we upset with this kid?
Easy. There are few things in life where I've never been in a fist fight. I woke up this morning wanting to fight somebody. Like I wanted to fight. I'm like, I've been mad.
Yeah.
And when you look, I mean, baseball Twitter is is going crazy in support of Tatis, and I love it. And I mean, Chris Woodward really comes out looking like a tool.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Padres manager has lost his clubhouse forever because
the Padres manager goes after the game. So first of all, this poor kid apologizes and saying, you know, maybe the next time I'll take it. I'm like, sir, I think John Boy said this guy who gets paid to hit baseballs should continue to hit baseballs every chance he gets. And so the Padres manager then also sort of doesn't back up his player.
No, not only does he not back up his player in the interview, the next batter, Manny Machado, the new relief pitcher that comes in, throws at Manny Machado
Yep.
as more of like a sign of like, and that's a baseball unwritten rule that I'm okay with.
Sure.
If and especially if Tatis had like flipped the bat a million miles or like, you know, showed up the pitcher and the next guy gets thrown at, that's an unwritten rule.
Got
You
it.
show up my pitcher, your next dude's going to get hit.
Yeah.
You hit my guy, your next guy's going to get. I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But don't start this throwing high crap when it's not something that was his fault.
No.
And so Machado gets thrown at, and the manager, instead of being upset that his other superstar player
Could have gotten injured.
is being thrown at,
Could have gotten hurt.
he goes and says, no, he shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, nope.
I'm done.
If I'm an impending free agent and I'm with the Padres, I want to leave.
Yeah.
If I'm considering a team, not and
that.
here's the little detail that's fun. The Padres manager, who I don't even know his name. You know where he coached? You know where he coached last year?
Rangers.
Texas. He was a Texas Rangers assistant coach under Chris Woodward.
Come on.
So he worked for that
Can't
guy
even
and
write
is now
this.
like, don't run up the score on my friend.
Oh,
no,
God.
this is sports.
Yeah.
Now, there is another unwritten rule about running up the score. Don't steal second base in a blowout.
Correct.
That is cheap.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Support it. I'm there.
Makes
I'm there
sense.
for that.
But what I don't understand is tell a guy don't swing. Okay, so let's say he doesn't swing, takes that strike. The next pitch, 3-1, still a great hitter's count. But a lot of times in 3-1 counts, you get a changeup.
Oh, hello.
So he swings and misses at the changeup, goes 3-2. Now it's anything. Let's say he grounds into a double play. The inning ends and it's still a 7-run lead. Does Texas come up and just wave the white flag and not try to score runs?
No, they're going to do everything they can to come back in this game because they themselves have been ahead, I think, and lost a 7-run lead. So I'm so done with this. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever.
I have no more words for that kind of thought process.
Yeah.
And I love guys like Trevor Bauer coming out and saying the only mistake you did was apologize. The only mistake you've made was apologize. Keep doing your thing.
So I think,
and I almost it's been almost unanimous across sports that players are just like, dude, swing the bat.
That's what you get paid to do, dude. Swing the bat.
And the question you come back to the question. If it's that way, okay, let's just have a mercy rule. If you're done, you go, okay, we're done, and you just quit. Because if you're gonna ask that guy to stop playing, then you have to stop playing too.
Correct.
Oh, I got so mad.
Yeah, that's well said. On that, I think we need to maybe come back here in a couple weeks and just have a Trevor Bauer podcast because the guy.
Would that be a Trevor Bauer appreciation podcast? Because
100%.
He might be my new hero.
Hashtag free Joe Kelly.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to another topic in sports. The sport of basketball. One question about basketball, because we were talking about the fans in their stands. Are they not playing in their normal stadiums? Are they playing like at practice facilities or something like that?
So they are playing at the Walt Disney Resort in Orlando, Florida.
Gotcha. Okay.
What they did.
This is weird.
Yeah, what they did, and I'll give you kind of the. This is gonna be hard for me because I'm a super sports dork, but they created a bubble. And at the resort, the teams all flew to Orlando, stayed in Orlando, are not allowed to leave the resort, are not allowed to leave and go do other things.
Safe.
They stay there, they play there. And actually, and I just saw this and I'm using my phone for this, so I can't look it up.
Yeah.
But I just saw a tweet that said, like, this is I forget how long it's been. They've had 0 positive COVID tests over like a crazy amount of time because they've done this bubble thing.
You're doing it right.
No political statement whatsoever.
Right.
But they're having sports and no cases because they're doing this bubble thing in Florida. So they're all playing in one place.
Interesting. Smart.
So it kind of ends up being tournament style.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk the 10-part documentary series that is now on Netflix, but I believe originally aired on ESPN over the course of like 2 weeks or something. Now you can watch the whole thing on Netflix, even if you're not a basketball fan. I think the documentary is an incredible thing. It is about Michael Jordan's career. but most importantly, it's about Michael Jordan's last year with the Chicago Bulls. Um, so I was around when this was happening. I was a young kid who at the time really loved basketball. I was playing basketball. I was into it. So I remember these last 3 years. I remember the Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan. Those were the guys. So I remember that fondly. I don't remember his early years, the first go round with the Chicago Bulls, and so that was very enlightening to me.
Right.
Mostly, this documentary camera crew got unprecedented access to this final season, and what we get here is some of the most intense, raw looks at arguably one of the greatest athletes in the history of sports. And there's always comparisons made, the Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, right? Those are kind of like those names that always float around here. And listen, they're all incredible basketball players, but watching this thing, I was so like overwhelmed at how dedicated this guy was. And not only that, but there was a lot when it first aired, everyone was talking about, man, Michael Jordan was a real dick. And that's all that I heard coming out of the thing, because I hadn't watched it yet, and I was like, man, and I'm getting clips here and there of him kind of berating one of his teammates, and I was like, wow, out of context, what an asshole. So going into this, I was waiting for those moments. And then they came in wet without me really realizing that that's what initially people were pulling out and focusing on. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't know, man. Like, he never came across like just a blatant asshole just to be one. It was always very much, there's a reason. I'm so good. I think he even said it in the thing. It's hard for me to be the nice guy. Like, I'm here to do a job. Like, I'm not here to make friends. If that happens, it happens. I'm here to do a job.
Yeah.
And he arguably is the best employee a company ever had. So.
Yeah, not only is he the best employee, you could make a case that he was one of the better supervisors that a company could ever have. Man. Because and we probably saw this more with Kobe's career, where a guy like Jordan would go to a guy, and I can't remember the guy's name. Scott Burrell was the name that kept coming up in the documentary, where he rode Scott Burrell. But he pushed players and expected better, and he got the best out of Dennis Rodman. Scottie Pippen obviously was that good, and arguably had a Hall of Fame career probably without Jordan.
Yeah,
but you watch him even push Scottie and push guys like Horace Grant and BJ Armstrong so much to when BJ Armstrong leaves and goes and plays him in the playoffs, he shows up and drops he dropped like 40 or 50 in that game.
Huge.
And goes nuts. And you're like, a lot of that, you just go, man, Jordan pushed these guys.
One of the most fascinating things was always that, he, at the end, you find out that he manufactured a lot of this, like, you did something, you won yesterday. I'm going to give you that one because it's not going to happen again. Or he scored 40 on him. I'm going to give you that one because it's not going to happen again. He was a guy who...
Or the whole Clyde Drexler thing. The paper put them together as saying, oh, Jordan versus Drexler. And he goes, I'm going to wipe the floor with Clyde Drexler. And Clyde Drexler's a Hall of Famer. Like, he was a great player. And Michael Jordan just goes, I'm going to eat his lunch. Like,
and he did. Like, this man backed up everything he ever said with his work, with his work ethic. There's one scene that like perfectly encapsulates to me the documentary. They're at a practice. Everyone seems to be taking shots at half court just for fun. Shots at half court. Every single person, the camera's just on them. Miss. This guy tries. Miss. This guy tries. Miss. And it goes on. Almost the whole team. Michael Jordan has sitting there and he's just watching. He picks up the ball, he shoots, it goes in, and that little clip ends. And I'm like, that was Michael Jordan. Like,
yeah,
incredible.
he was, and you know, I remembered a lot, but I still felt like that documentary unpacked Jordan so much more for
Yeah.
me. I wish they had just said it was a Jordan documentary and not
A Bulls
frame it
documentary.
as the Bulls documentary. It wasn't a Bulls
It's
documentary.
not.
It was a big Jordan. It was a big Jordan love fest,
Yeah.
and I was here for it.
Yeah, Tom
I
in.
I watched some of those episodes twice
Yeah.
because they were that good.
For sure.
And no, I really enjoyed it.
But I think it goes beyond. I know that I've tried to recommend it to people who aren't either sports fans or specifically not basketball fan. Like, I'll tell you what, I only watch basketball during the NBA finals because I just love like the top of the food chain type competitions, and the NBA finals always just seem like super exciting all the time. So I don't watch basketball all the time. This goes beyond that. Like, I think that this is more than just a basketball thing. Like, just it's a human interest story about someone who was in the spotlight for decades and is arguably like, I mean, you talk about things like this is the best guy in the world at this, right? Whether it's like an Elon Musk or it's a Walt Disney or something, we want to know more about these people. And that's what this is. Like, even if you're a basketball fan, not a basketball fan, I think there's so much to enjoy about watching someone this good do that.
Yeah, and you really get to see why he was the way he was, and you get to see so much of what he was able to do to drive himself to greatness.
Yeah.
But the thing I found the most interesting was how being him, not only being as good as he was, but being as in the public eye, how much that wore on him as his career went on.
Yeah.
Like, some of the most, like, I just think some of the most like poignant moments of the thing are when he's in his hotel room with the camera crew just going like, this is all I get. This is the only moment I get, and you guys are still here and you're still filming me.
Right.
So even in that moment when he's relaxing, he's being filmed. Like,
not only
he had
being
no
filmed, but like he's sitting there so many of the time, like so much of the time before games, he's sitting because he's got to have his like security entourage with him at all times. He's sitting away from the team. Now, whether that was a choice or not, you kind of see this like lone guy. Even though he was surrounded by a bajillion people, he seemed to have to lead kind of this solitary life because, you know, even guys on his team looked at him different, like, oh, we don't talk to Mike on game days kind of thing or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Because you just knew that, hey, he's going to go to work today. And
yeah, he's going to do his thing. Like, you don't mess with his stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and it seemed like there were some teammates that definitely wanted to stay off his radar because they didn't want him to, you know, get all up in his face in practice, like Steve Kerr. So the Steve Kerr story I thought was great.
Oh my gosh. And it's interesting because Steve Kerr was always one of my favorite players when he was with the Bulls. And the guy's got more championship rings than anyone else in that documentary. Right?
Yeah.
He's got like 9 or something as a player and a coach.
I think now if you throw in player coach, yeah.
I mean,
because he went and won. He won 1 or 2 with the Spurs after he won it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bulls and then now the Golden State Warriors. So I think he's got 8 or 9. Steve Kerr's the man. Like those final episodes where it was kind of Steve Kerr heavy, I was like, dude.
I really enjoyed that. I did enjoy the deep dive on Rodman because and I know Rodman had his own documentary, which I haven't watched yet. And I may or may not. I did enjoy as well the baseball side.
Sure. Yeah.
So have you watched Jordan Rides the Bus?
No.
So ESPN 30 for 30 was a Jordan Rides the Bus. It's his story of it's that gap year where he went and played baseball.
Yeah.
And his manager was actually Terry Francona, who, you know, we all know for winning a World Series. Right, and, you know, I think now he's with the Indians, I'm not sure where he is now. And Terry Francona actually said if baseball didn't go on strike in 94, Michael Jordan would have made it to the pros. He was on that upward slant. He never goes back. We never get the next 3 championships. The Last Dance was 93.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Jeez.
Crazy little thing that, I mean, it very well could have been because, and even you could see it in the baseball, what started as a laughable thing, like he really did put the work in, and baseball people started to really respect that. And you start looking at Jordan now less as a basketball player and more as just an athlete and go, yeah, he probably is the best athlete we've ever seen.
He just puts that work ethic into everything he did.
Because he refused to fail at anything.
Yeah.
He wanted to win at everything. And he didn't just want to win, he wanted to bury guys. You know,
I love that.
They're playing poker on the plane. He's going to take your money and your watch. Yes, like he's going to take everything.
Yep.
And you know, I really enjoyed it. It was a huge nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
You know, from when we were kids. Because I grew up knowing two things about basketball. I love the Lakers, and Michael Jordan's the greatest to ever play.
And if this does not solidify that 100 times over,
absolutely
you're watching the wrong thing. So
it absolutely does.
Yeah, that's The Last Dance. It's a 10-part, 10-part documentary now airing on Netflix. I highly recommend if you just love human interest stories and you're not a basketball fan. I think that you'll dig the hell out of this. And if you're a basketball fan and you also think that Michael Jordan's the best there is, this will just be preaching to the choir. This is a pretty impressive thing. So
yeah, I think it needs to be like required watching for young fans that are coming in the LeBron era, or even just now where, you know, you've got guys like Damian Lillard and all those, a lot of young players. Young basketball fans need to watch this and be reminded, hey, don't forget about this guy.
This is the reason these guys are here.
Yes.
Sir, thank you for joining me on the podcast today. I appreciate you always coming back.
Absolutely, man. It's a blast.
This is the 220 podcast. Thanks for listening.